Dave, welcome back to Headlines.
Thanks for having me. First time
You know,
caller, long time listener.
Dave, these have been putting me to sleep lately.
Well, I'll
I
sleep when
know,
I'm
I
dead.
know you've just started doing these, but they're kind of putting me to sleep lately, man. This week, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Or maybe next
Okay.
week I can prioritize my sleep next week.
It's always next week, eh?
It's always next week, right? There's always a reason for why it can't be this week. Best time to start. It's
Right
yesterday.
now.
No, yesterday, I think
Right
is the
now,
line,
man. You
isn't
can't
it?
start yesterday. You can start right now.
Okay, why don't we start right now? Around the industry, we are balancing sleep and coffee, optimizing your routine without losing the ritual. So, really fun headline this week. Andrew Huberman, James Hoffmann, two very well renowned, well known individuals in their respective fields, gonna
YouTube
come,
heavyweights.
yeah, have kind of come to battle. They're not battling. I'm over exaggerating, but they've kind of come at each other. So in recent years, the conversation around sleep and coffee has taken center stage with experts like Andrew Huberman, who is a known neuroscientist, advocating to wait at least 90 minutes after waking up before consuming coffee, arguing that drinking coffee immediately can interfere with the body's natural cortisol production, potentially disrupting energy levels throughout the day. And then we have James Hoffmann, a renowned coffee expert and YouTuber, as well as the 2007 World Barista Champion, recently released a video directly challenging Huberman's thesis, suggesting that this timing might not be as crucial as some believe. It's very differing opinions on how the two intersect. Dave, talk to me. Do you believe one versus the other?
I'm going with James.
James.
Undisputed,
Yeah.
undisputed heavyweight champion of YouTube. No, I think Huberman's got these recommendations. He's got these protocols, and he's kind of come under fire a little bit about these protocols. I guess he's taking them from certain journals and kind of applying broadly and saying them with like absolute conviction. This is what
Okay.
people would say that put him under fire. He's also got a massive, massive following. He's got one of the most popular podcasts in the world. He's probably got one of the top 100 YouTube channels, and he's been absolutely crushing it on that side of the game. And he does have some great advice. There's some things that I've used. He's got a sleep stack that he recommends to help you either fall asleep or stay asleep, based on some different extracts from tea and blah blah blah. And I use that. But his coffee recommendation here, absolutely not.
Absolutely not, hey?
I'm drinking that sucker the first second I get up. I'm having a cup of coffee. I don't care what Huberman says. I don't care what Hoffman says. I'm having that coffee.
I love it, man. That's
What
good.
about you? Thanks.
Yeah.
What did you
I'm
see in this?
Oh, I thought you were asking maybe my coffee consumption pattern. I think we've got a different stance on that generally. But what did I see? What did I see on this? I really love the combative way that James just kind of stood up to Andrew and has stated his opinion. He's done a great job. Him and his team have essentially done a test to see if it affects them in any way, shape, or form, or if they notice one way or another about consuming coffee, if it changes the progress of their day. And they've done an interesting thing with the decaf consumption, so they don't actually know and therefore can't alter the analytics that come from it, the data set that comes from it. So cute video, fun. I think good one to look at. But let's go further into sleep and coffee, Dave. Let's not talk too
Okay,
much
let's
about
do it.
Andrew and James. So if you want to watch the video, highly recommended. Let's chat about this maybe more on a business lens. What do you think? What do you think of this in a business capacity?
Yeah, I think if people are taking Andrew's advice here and delaying their consumption, that could have a real dramatic effect on like the coffee industry. A lot of people, especially in North America, on their commute to work, they're grabbing a cup of coffee.
Yep.
And I know people like yourself, it's like you wake up 7:59 and you're out the door 8:03.
Hey man, you quit telling people about my daily routine, okay? That's not what this show's about. And it's not quite like that. It's close, but not quite.
Okay, 8:05. Sorry. No, it could have an impact. Has it? Maybe around the edges. I don't think Huberman has such a voice that he's going to transform the community. But it was nice to see James kind of push back on that. What did you see?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. It's coffee. Coffee as a sector, as a segment, it's really consumed in the morning by the majority of consumers. So, assuming that the average person gets up at 6 a.m., you have 6 hours designated to a morning. If we're pushing 90 minutes to have the first cup of coffee, that's 25% of the morning window which somebody is willing to drink coffee in most instances, in the overwhelming, I think, majority. And then all of a sudden they're cutting that 25% out. So let's say we lose a cup of coffee in that 90 minutes. Do we also lose the second cup that they would have drank that morning, potentially? Like there's, some compounding things that happen, and maybe they end up shifting into a different beverage for the second beverage of the day. Right? It's hard to obviously say, but I would speculate that we would lose some market segment if we're to move 90 minutes as like the defined, I need to be awake, my body awake for 90 minutes before I have a cup of coffee.
Right, of course.
Now, I'm not the same as you. I don't need to get out of bed and go straight into having a coffee. I can wait. I can also go the day without having a coffee. It's not as ritualistic for me, but I can have a coffee kind of any time of day and feel pretty confident that I'm going to sleep that night. It doesn't have that effect on me either.
Okay, I believe you, man.
Okay, I'm glad. Trust is important, man. Breaking down the business. Dave, you got a take on this? You do some, it looks like you got some charts in here. I love charts, man. Tell me what I'm seeing.
Yeah, so we wear these little bands called whoops, and or friendship bracelets, one of the two.
Yeah, bro bracelets.
And they give,
right?
oh yeah, bro bracelets, and they give us feedback. So one of them is kind of heart rate, another one is sleep data, and before I got a whoop, my kind of take on sleep was, I'll worry about it later. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll get more sleep tomorrow. I had a ritual. It was like, go to bed whenever, get up at 5 a.m., head to the gym for 6, and then I'd always have these brutal crashes in the afternoon at 2 p.m. Then I got a whoop, and then I started to realize how important sleep is. Started to reframe my understanding of how it helps us repair, help us stay energetic. And then I read a book, Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. First half is tough. Second half is really, really insightful. And so this graph kind of breaks down, gives you a sleep performance, take that as it is, but it's more about getting enough sleep. So the goal, we always hear 8 hours. And for me, it's not really about 8 hours. It's getting into the quality of like deep and REM sleep. So you don't want to be a light sleeper, and there's various ways to kind of deal with that. But we can see my last week, sleep performance was quite high. I either had a sufficient or maximum amount of sleep. And I think everyone who's kind of joined our Whoop group, so Cole's in it, we've had, barista competitors join it and watch and we'd actually talk about it each day when we were training as a marker of like, hey, you need to rest up. Maybe you should take today off, or make sure you go to bed, or let's not have coffee too late. That's my take, man.
Yeah, I think it's so important to see and understand these numbers and how we sleep. I thought I used to think I slept very well, could sleep anywhere, could, catch up on sleep if I decided not to for a couple of days. And then I got a whoop and I realized, the numbers say otherwise. And there's feelings in numbers, right? Feelings and facts. And leaning into the facts, has really changed my day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month schedule and planning. I think the analytics are super important for that. And I think something Dave just said there, he's got written here, he would have his 2 p.m. crash. And let me just tell you, that 2 p.m. crash that he used to have was just awful. From 2 p.m. onward, he was useless. He thought he was getting up and hitting this routine that was, the best efficiency, best everything, crush out the day type of thing, built to win. And at 2 p.m. he could have left the office at 2 p.m. because 5, 6 p.m. when he was actually leaving, nothing happened between those hours because he was borderline asleep at his desk. Coffee could not get him out of that crash.
That is not true.
Nothing could get him out of that crash.
That is not true.
It was
That's
fake
news.
Full wreckage. So
because at 2 p.m. I'd have that third cup of coffee and I'd be back, baby.
Yeah, I'm not so sure, man. Not so sure. This is actually an intervention. No, just kidding. Okay, what else do we have here? So we talked a little bit about the business, consumption. I think all of this stuff is important when people are talking about coffee. Just generally in this space, how does it affect different elements and different avenues that are all kind of parallel within the industry? So interesting, I think, to follow the sleep. Interesting to also consider how it affects the business and people's consumption patterns. We put a little poll in here. We'd love to know, where do you land? Just simply Huberman or Hoffmann. Do you select Huberman and you wait to consume your first cup of coffee in the morning, or think that's a better approach to day-to-day life? Or do you align more with Hoffmann on his views here, where Hoffmann or Dave on the views here, where you're up out of bed, let's get a cup of coffee, I can't do anything until we do that? Would love to know. Would love to know also, just if you want to respond to us this week, fire away, and we'd love to have some conversations. We've had a few great conversations come from the emails so far and have really enjoyed the dialogues, so please feel free to let us know about your daily routine. Dave, anything else on sleep before I jump down to reading, watching, listening, brewing?
I haven't done this lately, but it would be interesting for us to drink coffee right before bed and then see the data on that. I wonder.
Yeah, man, you can do that by yourself. You don't need me there to do it. I believe in you.
Okay. Maybe I'll try that.
Sure. Do you want to do like an actual test, like a couple of times? You're just going to do it one-off? You're going to experiment?
I'll get back to you. We'll see. I'm still confused because that bookshelf, but it's okay.
There might be a sleep book on this bookshelf that I can pull out for you.
Yeah, please.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on before Dave puts us to sleep. Reading, watching, listening, brewing, reading. Our friends over at Common Grounds are serving up aces with the new Jakarta Cafe, which features a full-size tennis court. This unique venue blends a super sleek design with sporty charm, offering a one-of-a-kind coffee experience. Imagine enjoying a game of tennis and maybe even a one-on-one with the current World Barista Champion.
Wow.
Very cool. Dave, hit me. What are we looking at here, dude?
This might be one of the most unique cafes in the world. It's got a tennis court, so there's a cafe in the front. It's very beautiful. And then I'm assuming behind is a full-size tennis court. And there's like a locker room that has like the tennis balls as like the cubby holes and things. Let's see if our tech bro here can figure this out. Yeah, look at that.
So that's a tennis court.
Deck? You're doing a slide deck? You're doing a presentation?
I got the full investor's deck here, yeah. So Common Grounds is a very innovative specialty coffee player in Indonesia. They're Good friends of ours. We worked with Mikael Jassen, the 2024 World Barista Champion, and that training happened in the Common Grounds Roastery. And they just opened this cafe, and it's just wild. It is super, super nice. Can't wait to go and visit in May next year. This looks like a karaoke room. That's probably what this room is.
Yeah, I think so. VIP.
Yeah. Look at that. Bleacher seating. I love bleacher seating.
You do. No, super nice
seating.
cafe, kind of pushing the envelope on how we can merge with different aspects. And, tennis is kind of a neat version of that. So cool to see. Thought everyone might want to check that out.
Absolutely. Okay. Moving down into watching. Dave, I think we've got a bit of a theme that's gonna show up here in the reading, watching, listening, brewing. I love when you do
so.
Easter eggs, man.
You're a big Easter egg guy, eh?
That's right. Watching this week, we're watching the It's Just Coffee podcast/video, where Rowan and Kirk dive into the nail-biting 2024 World Barista Championship. They react to the final rankings and presentations, offering interesting and fun insights as they break down the top 2 routines. Very fun for us to get reactions from the community on Mikael's presentation. Tell me about the video. Tell me about the World Barista Championship, man.
Well, I think this is a lot of fun for us. Obviously, we coached Mikael to win the championship, and then Rowan and Kirk have a podcast, YouTube channel. It's Just Coffee, and their first video was reviewing the 2 presentations between Miki and Jack, and going through and dissecting each kind of component and why maybe someone won and someone didn't, or kind of breaking everything down. And we think this is just such a good component for our industry. We hope that more and more people will kind of do these things, because obviously it brings eyes on the industry. It helps competitors understand more things from the competition side, and us being on the back side and making the presentation and tasting the coffee. It also is really fascinating to hear people's insights on it. And it's well worth, it's like about 30 minutes, well worth your time to check it out.
Yeah, I think it's also really cool. They just contrast 2 incredible presentations and very different stylistic approaches to barista competition, and it's interesting to just see the different trajectories that you can go with a barista competition, and the boys Rowan and Kirk really do a great job highlighting that. They've got some awesome content on their platform. It's Just Coffee. Great conversations with really amazing professionals, so check out some of the other work that they are doing there as well. Listening, Dave, I loved the listening this week.
You got to scroll down for me. I don't even know what it is.
I was trying to build up some suspense, man. That's what we're supposed to do.
Well, you're supposed to play the music.
You know?
Play the music.
Oh, right. Oh, do I hear that creeping into the background? It's a masterpiece.
No, that's a truck going by, man. It's going by. It's a
masterpiece of emotion and vastness. This live epic captures mindfulness, beauty, and the essence of coffee. We are talking about Hans Zimmer's Interstellar, one of Dave's favorite tracks of all time.
I love this song.
I know you do.
This song and the whole album from the movie Interstellar is incredibly good. I listen to it when we take flights. That's the album I put on to try to fall asleep.
Okay. There you have it, folks. Does it work?
It's tough, man. I have a tough time falling asleep on flights. You and every other barista competitor I've ever traveled with fall asleep immediately. And I'm watching.
I'm using my Whoop, man. I'm doing strategic measurements to make sure I can fall asleep on planes. It's a strategy.
Okay, why we got this in here? Like, yeah, it's a great song and all, and
we have this in here because we were watching the It's Just Coffee podcast, and we were reminded of the fact that Hans Zimmer's Interstellar was part of Miki's presentation. It was his closing crescendo build-up epic.
Sweet.
Right? That's why that's in here?
Yeah, man. That's so super sweet. That's a great Easter egg.
I love Easter eggs.
And it's unfortunate you can't hear it. On YouTube, you can't hear it. They've cut that out, and they got the whatever
in the
track
presentation,
going on.
in watching
In
the
the
barista
presentation.
competition presentation.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's
So
more emotion
if you wanna
in person.
if you wanna feel the barista competition, open a second tab, play Hans Zimmer Interstellar, and probably start it around the 9.5 minute mark, 10-minute mark on Miki's.
Yeah, I think it's like
WBC
they finish their sig drink. He presents and walks away, and then that music starts as they're consuming it.
It's very good. Very good. All right, and for brewing, we are rocking a pretty incredible trio of coffees that nicely pair with our buddies Kirk and Rowan, conversing about the World Barista Championship. So recently, we being Rosso Coffee Roasters, launched the Trilogy from Finca Deborah. So these coffees were used to claim first, second, and third place at the World Barista Championship in May 2024. The roast for Ellipse, which is a nitrogen macerated washed to finish geisha, is nearly identical to the profile we roasted for Miki when he won the WBC. It is so incredibly floral. There's lots of sweet citrus notes. It's very elegant, very delicious. Of course, was used to win the World Barista Championship, so it's got to be delicious. And then, the first, second, and third place. So Ellipse, Nirvana, and Terroir. All great for espresso or filter. Check those out. You can click the link there to jump into the Rosso website.
Nice.
Dave, which of those three coffees is your favorite?
Well, the first place, Miki's Coffee.
Okay, great.
I wasn't expecting that question, man. I was trying to make a joke, and it just
Didn't hit, hey.
yeah,
That was
didn't
great.
hit.
That was
Didn't
great,
hit.
man. Let's
All right.
slide
Your
into
favorite
Big Brewing Vibes.
segment.
My favorite segments.
segment.
Here we go.
Oh
Weekly
my
shout out
goodness.
of Epic Brew Bars, be it real life, at your home or business, or wherever your imagination takes you. We have a real life brew bar
Thank
this week,
goodness.
Dave.
Thank goodness, finally.
We have a real life brew bar. So thanks to Alex Dante Smith for submitting this week's real life bar. What do we have going on here? This is sweet.
This is heavy duty, man.
Yeah, for a home coffee setup, we're loving this.
This
We
is
got a Slayer, single group
big
Slayer.
brewing vibes.
Big Bruin vibes for sure. That's the new fellow Aiden batch brewer
On the left?
on the left there. Yeah,
Yeah.
haven't seen it in real life, but looks like a pretty slick unit. And look at all the decanters, all the tools down below there. Pretty sweet, man. You know what? I
You're
actually
not going to
reached
highlight
out to
the
Alex.
anthem there? You didn't highlight the anthem. What's going on here?
Is that an anthem or is that a Malkunic? Maybe it's an anthem. It's an anthem. It says anthem on it.
That means it's an anthem.
Yeah, I think that means it's an anthem. It's a sweet anthem. Hey, I'm glad we're highlighting the anthem.
Are they
I
a
love
sponsor?
anthem grinders. Actually, I
they
I
a new
learned how to
sponsor?
make espresso on anthem grinders. Big fan.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
quote
both did.
from Alex. My coffee bar is my pride and joy. It also signifies my growth and development in the coffee industry. Started way back with a Steg kettle and a Breville Barista Pro when I was purely an enthusiast, and has evolved to be an almost commercial setup with the Slayer single and Anthem grinder. There you go, it says there again, Anthem grinder. As my career in coffee has developed, it has also been a testing ground for new fellow products, more recently specifically for the new Aiden Brewer. The whole setup makes me smile every day. Alex,
Boom.
I asked for 30 words. You gave me more than that, but it's a great rundown, man. It's a killer coffee bar. Nice to be the first real life bar we featured in the newsletter here.
I think
David, Is this nicer
gotta
than
take,
your
man.
setup at home?
It's much nicer than my setup. I gotta take,
Okay.
though, him talking about going from like an enthusiast to, you know, commercial pro setup is also interesting because there is a journey that goes on as a home consumer, even if you're
Yeah.
in the industry or not. And I think this highlights like this might be almost the end boss here with Slayer, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
very
like,
nice.
It's highly likely that Alex is the nicest coffee shop without wanting to be a coffee shop in the whole neighborhood, right? He's probably brewing the best coffees on this setup, and I have no idea where he's currently living, but probably making some wonderful coffees on this bar. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's super sweet.
Yeah, thanks for that tidbit, Dave. That's probably the most insightful piece you've given in this whole segment.
No, I'm still wondering about those books you got behind you.
The books. This week, for the Grind Diaries, we're not going to tell you what we did here. We're going to ask you to go to the newsletter and
Nice.
check it out. We have recently started a group that's on Strava. You can join the run group. It's not at all about the distance. It's more about celebrating the journey and the consistency. Feel free to join us and some friends in the By the Drip run group on Strava. All you got to do is jump into the comments below. You'll find a link there to sign up to our email newsletter. And you'll find a little breakdown of some other tidbits down there as well. Newsletter goes out Tuesday mornings. This video will come out to give you a little bit more insight into what's going on in the brains of Dave and myself. Usually not a lot, but we'll tell you about it anyway. And Dave, anything you want to wrap up on? Or are you going right back to bed to try to get your sleep into a green sort of recovery zone?
I hit seven days in a row here. 7 greens.
You know what? That is incredibly hard. Like, genuinely good for you.
Thanks, big guy. I think that's the nicest thing you said to me in 2024. That might be the nicest thing you've said in the last 2 years to me.
You know, maybe if I got more consistent sleep and I was in the green a little more often, I'd say some nicer things. 7 days in a row in the green is like, it's very hard to do. I think I'm just about two years of tracking data, and it's only a few times it's happened. No alcohol? Okay, what are your other secrets?
Yeah, no alcohol.
Yeah.
Trying to be in bed and asleep before 10.
Okay.
So it's about getting up and going to sleep at the same time consistently.
Okay.
No food right before bed. So like a 2-hour window, no food.
Okay.
You want to make the room cold.
Okay.
You need to have the room, no external lights coming in. So the sun doesn't come in first thing. And then last thing, get off your phone, get off your... Cool. You're still...
Oh, man.
I know. You know what? If someone's made it this far,
just put me right.
Someone's made it this far, we'll send you $10 on ROSSOCOFFEEROASTERS.com.
What do they need to write in the comments, Dave? Tell
anything.
Them
you can write anything. We'll send it to you. Just we need your email, and we're sending you $10.
Thanks for tuning in to Headlines. We appreciate you being here. Slowly but surely, coffee industry is getting better every day thanks to you.